What's up, fellas? Today I'm going to be answering the question of the month sent to us by Solo Wing. His exact question was, when cutting a design into a plane, how do you get the exact picture you have in mind? Do you need to create more polygons to give you more options? Or is it best to make it like a decal and place it over the plane? In general, what I want to know is, how did you make your Iceman Tomcat and the decal on the Bombcat you made for Bombcat's birthday plane? Alright, so basically I'm going to show you guys how to cut a decal the Iceman way. Alright, I'm using 3D Max, but the same rules and techniques that I use apply to G-Poly and G-Poly-O. As long as you have the decal and you're cutting into the decal and nothing else, this technique works. So what we're doing today is we're going to be doing the CAG bird for VFA 201. So I'm going to cut this into it, this ninja star. This is a very cool ninja star, right? So I'm going to be cutting this into the tail that we have right here. Give me a quick second. Okay, now first we want to start off with this ninja star. So I'm not going to be showing you how I'm doing this techniques in 3D Max because you wouldn't understand anyway, but I'm going to first cut the shape of it. So I'm going to move this ninja star over to my other monitor. You can't see it right now, but you'll see it in a minute. And now I'm going to cut the star. So I want to start with the first point. I'm going to start here. Okay, like that. 2, 3, 4. Now, the thing about decals is you have to make sure they're semi-low poly, right? You don't want to flood it with too many polygons, right? So I got the star thing going on. Alright. 1, 2, 3. That. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so now we got this not that round star. I mean, it's good enough for our tutorial purposes, right? Now we got this star, and this is the color that it is. Now I'm gonna take this star here. Oops, my fault. You tend not to see this. This can be an issue. Oh, there we go. Alright, so I'm gonna take this star, open my materials, which you don't have, but basically I'm gonna paint it this color, right? So this is what it looks like. It's a nice star, but it's not completely finished. So now I'm going to teach you the technique of cutting and shading. Shading is not extremely hard if you know values. You need to know just a little bit of art, stuff to do with art to cut, shading. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to cut a dividing line into this, just in case there's something in the middle that we need to cut, which there is. There's a hole in the middle. So now what we do is we start from the dividing line and we cut our hole. And then we can take this and we paint it blue, right? So that way it doesn't fuck up, because you got this dividing line in the middle, so that the center hole has something to connect to, right? Now, what I like to do is I like to balance everything out somewhat, because it helps with rendering sometimes, and it exports a little easier. So I'd connect these here. General places where I feel like it should probably be connected. Remember, polygons, as far as polygons go, rectangles are the best, so try to keep it a quadrilateral if you can. Now, I want to cut the blades. So I'm going to cut like that, and then like this, because that's as far as I remember, as far as I can see the blades looking like. So I just cut like that, and then cut like that. This is the real technique part, because you have to know where to cut to get the desired shading effect, right? So I'd cut like that, and like that, and like that. And for this, I'll just move it over here because it's already there, my dividing line, and I could just do that. So you can't see the lines, obviously, when you're in this view, right? But you can see them when you have the wireframe. So let's change that. so say the light source is coming from right over here. So I'm going to take these three right here and this one, I presume, and I'm going to color it a little bit lighter. Take this and I'm going to apply a little bit lighter of value. So see, there we go. We got shading on this part. Now we could take the underside. I like to use as little colors as possible, just because I'm a minimalist, and I try to keep it, you know, file size low, things like that. So I'm going to take this one and I'm going to lower it like that. So now we got this. Oh, see, now it's coming out looking sexy, right? So alright. And finally, for this one right here, we're going to need an even darker color, because that's pointed directly away from the light. Like that. Alright, so that's coming out looking good. Now, what about this here in the center? What we want to do is we want to cut. See, now that we have these lines in, it makes it a lot easier to cut these lines here. So now what we can do is we can take this and I can cell shade it, so to speak. I'll hit that. Let me lower this a little bit more. Okay. So you need to know a little bit of shading technique. You could see these over here would be more brightly shaded. These, so that's how it would look like cell shaded, pretty much. So we have this gray value, the base value. We have this lighter gray. We have a darker gray and an even darker gray, and even 4 colors is enough to do a really dope looking decal. Alright, so let's just say we want to spice this up a little bit, right? I want to add perhaps some cool metal effects to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into wireframe mode, and I'm going to cut, you know, just some minor shading. I'm going to cut that, and then I'm going to cut that. That looks about right. And of course I'm going to add dividing lines again. Okay. So now what are we going to do with this? I want to shade this whole thing a little bit darker, or a little bit lighter even. Or perhaps we can make it a glare off the light. So I take this and I'll raise the value a lot, right? And for this one, I can lower the value a little bit, because it's going to act like a fade. There we go. And now, you know, all metal has a little bit of glare down there, so as far as metal goes, I would do that. I would cut a small decal, right? I would cut a small line right here, and small lines right here. You know, kind of like to accentuate the metals. So I would select these in here, and I would slap on a dark, perhaps the really dark one would look nice. I don't know, I don't really like that. Maybe just this one, this normal one. Yeah, I can see myself screwing with this. This is nice. Alright, so that's what we're gonna do right here. Oh, this one I forgot, should be dark. Alright, so here we have our ninja star, which is pretty much done at this point. But if you even want to spice it up even more, you could even shade it your own way. You can add grooves to it. Let's just say we want to add grooves to it. So let's cut a dividing line there, a dividing line there, a dividing line here, one that stretches through the shading that we already put in. Usually I do, you know, the thing first, the actual object first, but in this case, since I'm showing you technique, I don't really need to do that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut a groove. I'm going to cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, just some basic grooves.